Welcome to another episode of Cinematic Anarchy, where today we're going to be discussing a film of sorts. I guess you can call this a film. Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, brought to us by one of our favorite recurring guests, Bev, who is joining us today. Hello.
Hiya.
And with us, as usual, Christian. I was going to say as always, but it's not always.
Not
So.
always, but mostly always. Hello.
And, of course, Christian will be starting us off with a synopsis of the film before we go ahead and get started. So,
Yeah.
take it away, Christian.
Well, so this Yuletide science fiction fantasy sees two children captured by Martians to lure the real Santa Claus into their grips, all to get their kids away from that damn TV where they obsess over news interviews with Santa and can't go to bed without their sleep spray. Will Santa be saved, enslaved, killed, or escape? Well, we find out all in this space-blazing color in this 1964 cult favorite that finds itself on more worst movies of all times lists than the number of presents pushed out of Santa's Martian workshop.
I don't remember there being a lot of presents in that work. There were more present amalgamations than there were...
Amalgamate, yeah. The Martians are still figuring out their operations.
Okay. All right. Well, to start off, I'm just going to say worst Santa ever. Like Santa imagined by Ed Wood, basically.
Yeah.
Nothing against John Call, but I think that when he imagined Santa, he had possibly spent a little bit too much time watching the Mr. Magoo Christmas Carol. Because that laugh, it borderlines Mr. Magoo constantly.
I thought a lot worse, to be honest. I thought that laugh meant that he should be on some sort of register somewhere.
Yeah.
He traded in the ho, ho, ho for something that sounded a little bit more like...
Yeah. I mean, the look is pretty good, though. I'll give him that.
The
look is
It's the sound that's the issue.
He looks like Santa, but there's nothing about him that says Santa, really.
Yeah. Yeah, very alien in a way.
Yeah.
Santa may have been more alien than the actual Martians in this film. And, right...
Just grabbing one of the other random ones that they saw, like the Goodwill Santas. It might have been better off grabbing one of them than the actual real Santa.
Right. This is our Timu Santa.
I think this is possibly one of Santa's helpers. I know what's coming. I can see what's coming, and I can see you when you're sleeping. I know when you're awake. I know the Martians are coming for me, so you're going to stand in for me. Go.
Yeah.
They didn't get the real guy. Santa does not conquer the Martians in this film.
No.
He does not.
Not in the slightest. Maybe the idea of Santa, it can be argued, conquers the Martians in a way, but you really got to stretch to have this story live up to its title.
Come on,
if nothing else,
toys at each other. How can that not be conquering the Martians?
I was going to say, if nothing else, Billy, Betty, Bomar, and Gurmar end up conquering the Martians.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and so I don't know if you all picked up on this. So the names of the children or the main family unit is Bomar, Gurmar, Momar, and Kimar. And that's just portmanteaus of king Martian, mom Martian, boy Martian, girl Martian. So we got some creative names going on here.
You look at all the names, and you got Boldar, and you have an R in almost all of this stuff. So you had the Martian thing going on, and then they dropped the ball with Droppo.
Yep.
Bill McCutcheon, who's probably the only other person in this film, other than Pia Zadora, that went on to have like a lot of different roles and different things.
Wasn't the old man, the old wise man that they go to see, wasn't he called like Cock Cam or something? There wasn't an R
Uh,
with A either, I don't think.
Carl Dawn, Chochem?
Yes, Chochem, that's it.
Mhm.
Chochem, yes. I mean, I think he was in quite a few bits and pieces, but it's all just obscure, like, TV stuff.
Mm.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm not seeing anything. What did you say he might have been in?
Oh no, I'm saying that the name is another one that didn't have an R sound in it.
Oh, yes, right. Chochem, the wise man. Chochem, and then they had another alien that was Shim, if I'm not mistaken. That was one of Voldar's henchmen, so to speak. That I think that was the guy that everybody kept mistaking for like Jamie Farr because he looked so much like him. He had the nose and everything. And I think Jamie Farr might have been in his early 20s at this point, like when this film came out, or maybe even in his teens. He was a young guy, so not quite in his MASH prime.
No.
But Pia Zadora playing Gurmar. We had Chris Month as Bomar. Victor Stiles, who played Billy Foster. So I did actually watch one other version of this film. They had a stage play version of this film.
They did.
Because, modern times, people are making stage plays out of bad movies, just bad movies. They have a stage play around here for like Plan 9 from Outer Space. And of course, they do the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I don't know if you'd call it a bad movie, but I don't think it was particularly popular at the time that it came out.
Right. Certainly a cult classic, which, some similarity there, but I'd much rather watch Rocky Horror.
As an adult, Victor Stiles, in the version that I saw, reprises his role as Billy. So he comes back for the stage play version to be Billy Foster again. I'm like, that's some wide range you got there. You went from playing Billy Foster to playing Billy Foster. Good job.
Right.
Or still as a
Yeah,
child
there's
or as an
also-
adult?
Right? Well, it was as an adult. This was
Okay,
more
no, but
modern.
I
I
mean,
want to say maybe.
Tending to be the child, though. As an
Right.
adult actor, but tending to be the child.
Well, I mean, because it's a stage play, so he played a child as an adult.
Mhm.
So he's playing the child role, but he is an adult playing
Right,
a
okay, that's
child.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get my head around.
But it's not like, Gary Coleman trying to play an adult,
No.
or something like that. It's literally a full-on adult playing a child's role.
Right.
This is when Joan Crawford took over from her adopted daughter in one of those soap opera type scenarios then.
Right. They look exactly the same. No problem there.
Exactly. Yeah, there were a couple of like theater productions, I think. I saw something as well about like a musical that was produced, which interesting. I mean, there is a pretty catchy like I don't know if you'd call it a theme song, but song that gets debuted in the like opening credits and end credits, I think. That is pretty catchy. It does spell out Santa Claus.
Yeah, hooray for Santa Claus.
Yeah,
So they
hooray
spell out
for
Santa
Tiny
Claus and then call him Santy Claus.
Yep.
Which is not the same spelling.
Every time they were saying that, they were saying Sandy Claus, I couldn't help but think of A Nightmare Before Christmas, because essentially it's the same thing. They kidnap Santa and take him to another world.
Yep.
So, are you saying that The Nightmare Before Christmas ripped off Santa Claus Conquers the Martians?
Exactly what I'm saying.
Bold claims.
Somebody watched this like, I know how to do this better. Tim Burton.
I mean, anybody could have watched that, but they could do it better.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, I do imagine Nightmare Before Christmas being what Tim Burton probably would have done with this film if he got a hold of it. So
Right.
It right up there. I think they were supposed to actually make a more modernized version with Jim Carrey in the role of Droppo, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. that obviously fell through. I mean, I think it's been kicking around for like a long time. I think since like the 90s. And there was at some point like IMDb pages and, you know, predict dates and whatever, but I don't think it'll ever happen. I would be surprised. Yeah, I would be surprised.
So this movie essentially opens with, I want to say, probably the most humorous part of the film as far as I'm concerned. Outside of like some of Drapo's antics, the most humorous part for me was the reporter at the very beginning who was dropping dad joke after dad joke after dad joke. He was like, hey, I
Rapid
got some
fire.
food up here, but it's all frozen food by the time it gets to me.
Well, you know, he's using it to launch his career in stand-up comedy, I'm sure, right? He's got to work on his tight five.
Right.
Build that audience.
Because not for nothing, I don't think that his main gig is going to be a reporter for very long. Oh, we have a guest star here, huh?
Oh yeah, always. Hi, Velma. Yeah, she watched the movie with me. She was mostly unimpressed, but it turns out, you know, she just has a really high standard for cinema these days.
I don't believe this is really a cat-related film. I don't think that cats would be terribly interested in this at all.
Right. Now, cats, I think, probably could conquer the Martians, maybe a bit better than Santa here did. You know, cats have that way about them.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the part in here where they felt like Santa Claus conquered the Martians.
It's such a strong word, isn't it? Because I keep wanting to call it Santa Claus versus the Martians, which still isn't accurate, but would make slightly more sense. It's the term conquers gives you an expectation that you never achieve.
Or just invert the whole thing and have something like the Martians kidnapped Santa, or Santa kidnapped by Martians, or something to that nature.
Right.
Because there's no real
like a nightmare, you know, nightmare before Christmas, right?
Right. Like, and there's also a lot of Santa being dismissive of the obvious throughout the entire thing. Like, Santa's naive, and then he treats Billy like he's naive, and then Billy treats Betty like she's naive.
It's clear, like, chain of command going on.
Right. It goes like, it starts with Santa, then kind of goes to Billy, and then Betty's just screaming at every turn, just you know?
Which, you know,
I mean, Betty didn't
fair.
really need to be there as a character. I suppose it was just to mirror the fact that it was a boy and a girl Martian and a boy and girl alien. But I mean, Betty was pretty much superfluous to the plot.
I'm trying to understand, like, I think the passage of time for Martians are supposed to be a little bit different, but when the kids meet, they're like, I'm 10 and 8. Well, I'm 10 and 8 too, you know, and I'm just sitting here like, how does that work?
Why do you measure your age in Earth years? That's my question for the Martians.
Because they watch all the FTV, that's right.
Yeah, that's true.
Could they have given us like a conversion table? Like, what does that mean in Martian years? Like, what's your 10 years versus our 10 years?
Right.
Yeah, is it like dog years? Is it like every 7 years for a year?
Like, so you're 70, right? Or you're 100? You know, you age a little differently than us. And so from moving from our pardon?
No, I was going to say, it makes you wonder how old the old man actually is, because if he says he's in the film, he's 800 years old, and how old is he in Martian years?
Oh, I imagine either vastly younger or vastly older. One of the two.
Right. Vastly something, though.
Still. So, okay. So we just reach out to the original writer. Excuse me, sir. We need a conversion table for your Martian to human years.
Right. I don't know that the original writer's still kicking. Paul L. Jacobson wrote the screenplay.
Based off the Glenville Marith story, if I'm not mistaken. Nope, he passed away in 2015, so we're about 10 years too late for those questions. Well, it'll have to remain a mystery.
He left his mark.
because I think their year is broken up into quarters, if I'm not mistaken, like 4 months per year, the way that the Martians have it, but I don't know how long those months happen to be. But I do know that for some reason they're mashups of our months with September.
September, yes, my favorite month.
It's September runs through our December. So I'm guessing that's the last quarter of their year, which is the last month of our year.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only argument really that there is about like being conquered is in terms of like Santa Claus on the television conquering the children's attention span because they don't want to sleep, they don't want to eat, they just want to watch this newscaster soft launch his stand-up career and see Santa and Mrs. Claus.
How about Santa Claus bumbles into outsmarting the Martians?
And also there are 2 kids. What a title.
Okay, Santa Claus along with 2 kidnapped children bumble into conquering. That's a long title. I don't think that would work. That's not going on a marquee anywhere.
No.
So I love how the channel that they use to predict put out the news. The entire thing is KID TV, Kid TV.
Yeah.
The one that's like running military stock footage throughout the film.
Well, gotta educate those kids.
It's like, I'm not sure where any of this, it's like, okay, well, we're going to go after this, rocket ship going into Mars, but their version of going after the rocket ship going into Mars or heading out towards Mars is basically showing us 2 planes coupling so it can regas, refuel. That doesn't show, you got to go to NASA after that. That's not the Air Force anymore. What are you doing? You got to send rockets into outer space, but I guess they didn't have NASA footage. They only had stuff from the Air Force.
Yeah. Well, I laughed because at some point they mentioned the Space Force. It was like, wow, this movie's really ahead of its time. We didn't get that until, a few years ago.
It's like, hey, they predicted Donald Trump's little Space Force thing. That's
right.
Or maybe that's where he got the idea. Donald Trump's just watching this on repeat, secretly, just like, Space Force, we should do that.
That would kind of explain a number of things.
He's just desperately concerned about helping Billy out here. Like, we have got to create a Space Force. There's kidnapped children on Mars.
Billy.
Wow. That's my first tongue trip of the podcast today. So
I've had a couple. It's fine. We're waking up.
It's been a long day. It's been a long day already for me. I've been up since 4:30 this morning. So
yeah.
Yeah, I'm recovered from night shift, so I'm not exactly running with energy.
No, yes.
So I got my tea here. I do love when they're, showing all of the military clips with the radars and stuff. You can totally tell that one of their radars is made out of like cardboard and tinfoil. Like the budget for the movie, of course, was not very large. And that's why we get lots of like green spandex suits and splotchily applied green paint on the Martians' faces.
That's
apparently
probably
$200,000 was the budget, and it made back $135,700.
Sure, really? Did it?
Apparently so.
I am amazed that this.
1964.
Okay, so so I see. Oh wow, okay, so it has the budget. I'm looking at it here on IMDb. It has the budget at $200,000, and it says gross worldwide $868. I didn't mean to step on your point there. I just for something that was rated a 2.6 on IMDb, I'm not entirely surprised. It was not the best film, and it was apparently filmed over a process of a time frame, of 4 days inside a converted I guess, airplane hangar that they converted into a studio space. I'm not sure if it was for this film or previously. And said airplane hangar has now been converted into a shopping mall. So
How poetic.
Mm.
To be fair, it is pretty wild that they managed to film all of this in 4 days. They do have a number of like different set pieces, between Earth, the ship. They're in like a weird tundra-y, like cave kind of deal for a little bit. So, I mean, I think, stretched the budget fairly well.
I think after having watched this film 4 times in a matter of days, yeah, I can hear the little one climbing in the background.
Yeah, she's doing her thing.
After watching this 4 times in a matter of I want to say 3 days time, I enjoyed the MST3K version more than watching it straight up. I got the original version prior to the first time I watched it, prior to the colorization, or not, but not. I don't want to say colorization, but the enhancing of the color.
Yeah.
And I guess Vinegar Syndrome had put out a enhanced version, and that's the second version that I watched, and the colors just were so vibrant and painful to look at.
It's that space blazing color.
That cornea burning
spaces were blazed.
color.
Yeah.
So the fourth watching just ruined the whole thing for me. I really did not enjoy the movie to begin with, but watching it for the 4th time and having to squint, like I gotta turn the brightness down on my television now because the colors are too bright, and I preferred this dull because the movie was dull and
Right. More reflective of the material. Well, you know who did enjoy this movie?
Oh no.
Is Kevin Bacon in the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
Yeah.
I had just finished upgrading and was like, okay, I have free time. I'm gonna watch Christmas stuff now, and I threw that on a whim and was watching it. And this was maybe a couple days after watching Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. I'm like, holy shit, that's what he's watching in this little scene. I was so surprised. He loved it a lot more than I did. I'll tell you that. But yeah, I was so surprised to see that make its way in.
Yeah, but now you want to really ask because that was scripted. So
right.
It makes you want to ask, did he really like that, or was that just him saying, you want me to like what now?
Kevin Bacon, the character in the short, loved it.
Kevin Bacon playing Kevin Bacon, liking something that Kevin Bacon normally wouldn't like.
Well, we don't know. Kevin, if you're out there listening, let us know. Do you like Santa Claus Conquers the Martians?
Yeah. Hey, tell us in the comments below or join us and tell us. Because, that would be fairly fucking epic. Anyway. That would redeem this movie for me. Kevin Bacon coming over and explaining his like and or dislike of this film from back to front.
Especially when he does a deep dive, like he goes, you don't understand, this is a political thing, and he goes into a deep dive about representation of, the consumption of TV and how it rots the mind and something like that.
And only capitalism can save us. More toys.
Yeah.
This film was darker than I expected, though. Like, Voldar, had some fairly murderous plans. Like, he was going to shoot, Santa and the kids out the airlock. He wanted to have that robot, or I guess series of boxes that looked like a robot, squeeze them to death.
What was his name? Torg?
Torg, yes.
Yeah, it's the most quintessential 60 robot that you can imagine. It's just exactly what you think.
Yeah. Torg was what you imagine a quintessential 60s robot would look like to children making a stage play in the 60s.
Yes.
Because there are other robots out there both at the same time and prior to this that looked so much better, and it was also on a tight budget.
Yeah.
This was essentially somebody saying, okay, we have several boxes from the whammo fucking guns that we bought to make into weaponry from this. We're just going to put them together, paint them a little bit, throw a couple of random things on it, and call it robot. Oh, you need arms? Here we go. We're going to go give you the piping to the back end of a couple of dryers and
the ducting, yeah. Dryer vent looking.
Dryer, yeah, it was terrible. And I feel like I've seen this somewhere before this movie, like this kind of terrible robot design.
Yeah. I mean, it's very familiar, right? But that's just because I think of all of the older media, and like that's just you get that a lot.
You know why it's well, for me, I know why it's very familiar, because I'm a kid that grew up in the 80s, and you saw these robots going around on Halloween all the time. Because that was like a quick, easy costume to throw together. Just like couple box, color it up, put one on your head, cut out the eye holes, go for it, you know?
Yep.
I mean, you can be fair. You can say Santa conquered Torg because somehow he managed to turn him into a toy. I think that's what happened.
Right. I think so. Or he somehow convinced Torg he was a toy, and he just stopped existing somehow.
Yeah, so it should have been called Santa Conquers Torg.
Yeah. That one probably didn't do as well in the audience testing. They're like, what the hell's a Torg?
And Voldar somehow became the most notoriously evil villain in this film, but also the dumbest guy in this film. For some reason,
beating out
Dropo. That Dropo was Santa.
Yeah.
First of all, Santa has a red hat, not antenna, does not have green skin.
No.
And so he was either really it's dumb. Just pure dumb. It's like, how you know Dropo. You've seen Dropo. You've dealt with him more than you've dealt with Santa. Santa looks alien to you. Dropo looks normal to you. So why would you mistake Dropo for Santa? And also, I think that Kimar's, this is just my opinion, his assessment that his children can't sleep very well, and that they're growing up without any humor, and they need Santa. Part of the not being able to sleep very well is maybe because you are having them sleep on a suspended slab with a brick as a pillow.
Yeah, that's why they need the sleep spray, right? They just can't get comfortable. Give them a nice quilt and a little pillow, and they'll be set.
Please, you fluff your concrete block before you pass out, children.
Right.
Just, it's not the best setup, and I noticed that Santa in his prison area has better bedding than the children do. So the prisoners.
Well, but maybe Santa, made that happen. He has his magic, so
the prisoners basically get better treatment than their own children. Part of their advanced race is being able to sleep on just hard surfaces and deal with the amount of pain and back misalignment that would cause.
Right, that's why they're sitting like a shrimp in front of the TV all day.
Well, I mean, apparently their favorite thing to do is to watch Earth programming. So somehow they've figured out how to get a signal from Earth, when back in the 60s, you could barely get a signal from your home, let alone, several planets over.
That's where all of their Martian R&D went. They're like, we got to get this Earth media. How do we do it? Figured it out.
It just looks like a stand-up reporter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Their ability to steal cable is much more advanced than their radar blocking abilities.
Much more advanced than ours, even.
So even as 1960s Martians, their focus is on how to get the best entertainment value possible.
Yeah. Right. Well, they just have a really, really long coax cable running from their neighbors on Earth up to the ship. So
Like we're pirating your cable. Don't mind that thing running from NASA all the way
Right,
out to
right.
Mars.
Bev, earlier you mentioned like some of the political ideas that get slipped in. I'm super curious to hear like what are some of those themes you picked up on.
So a lot of that was dropping out. I'm struggling a bit here. Oh, that's finally connected again. Did you ask me about the themes?
The
Yeah,
political
the like
themes.
political themes that you pick up on.
Well, well, I mean, like I jokingly touched upon, I'm not sure if it's meant to be a kind of um, look at the fact that, like Earth kids, they were thinking at the time, TV would rot their mind and all this and that, and that would take away their childhood, and that they'd need to, have some sort of joy in their lives through toys and things like that, which is quite forward thinking for the time. It's certainly something that would be much more prevalent today with
Yeah.
phones and that. You could see it being much more of a kind of like, we must encourage children to be children. I'm not sure if that was the intention of the film, mind you, but that is certainly something that can be picked up from it.
I think from what and this is just a vague memory that I have of a conversation that I had decades ago. Okay, so bear with me. But I think from what my mother was saying, even growing up, like her parents thought that the ease of access to telephones was going to be a real problem for the mind rotting of children. And then she said that like her parents were constantly harped on by their parents about like radio programs, kind of kids wanting to sit around and listening to old radio programs was going to cause brain rot. And then televisions became more popular and more homes could afford them, and that became a problem. And it's like, but programming was only offered a few hours a day way back when. It wasn't all the time, and in some cases back in the 80s, they cut you off at midnight. And then cable decided, no, we should have programming all the time. And the more we worry about it, the more they pushed it on us, and now you have kids that literally sit strapped to their screens all day long. So for all that worry, kind of went nowhere, didn't it? Play with your
Well,
toys, children.
it did get pushed into, right, like the tablet and the phone more so than like proper, aired TV or cable. I was trying to look up the statistics just to see, but I need to do a little bit more research in it because I have to imagine there's like a peak around, I don't know, 2010s, like mid 2010s or something for like TV consumption, and then it probably tapers off a fair bit because of like streaming and games and all of that stuff. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, because I think people are watching less like cable and live television now, and they have that ease of
yeah,
access of programming with like whatever you want, whenever you want, depending upon what you're subscribing to. Why
yeah.
tune into CBS, ABC, or whatever when you can pick up whatever streaming service has those programs and watch them at your leisure?
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to
Yeah,
And
see
also
the
it's
it
that,
that night.
traditional TV.
yeah, and it's that concept now of binge watching where, before you'd have to wait until the next week to see what would conclude for what you're watching. Whereas now we're like, well, no, we don't want that anymore. We want to watch all 10 episodes back to back rather than wait it over a 10-week period.
Binge rotting. That's always fun. Just
Yeah.
have all your meals around your couch and your television, just watching one show back to back to back to back. Just
Right.
take it out in a weekend. I did that a
Which used
few
to be,
times, and I was like, this is not productive at all. Like, I feel like I didn't retain any of that TV show at all.
It's like the equivalent of cramming before a test,
mm,
is taking it all in as fast as you can. And will it stick? Maybe
Uh,
not.
I feel like watching a television program in general, like I have a bit of a better time retaining it if I'll watch one or two episodes, give it a few days, then come back to it. Spread it out over a bit of time so it has those two episodes have a little time to sink in before I go and jam another two episodes into it.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, it makes it more of an event, right? Like a shared event, and it gives more space to think about what happened, the themes, have time for those discussions. I don't know. I think it is
Mm.
nice when we get, those weekly releases, as difficult as it is nowadays, because we're used to a season dropping. I'm like, okay, I can binge through this all in a day. There is something nice about slowing down and consuming it more intentionally.
So I'm going to go ahead on record and advocate for a modernized version of Santa Conquers the Martians, but with Voldar, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Santa, played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. What do you say?
Sounds like every Christmas movie that they've made since 2020.
Yeah.
Just absolute garbage. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
well, so if
disappointment about this film, I knew it was going to be bad because, like I said, the IMDb score is quite low. But I was hoping it was going to be like a good bad, but it's just boring. Is its main problem.
yeah,
It is a good bad when you put the guys from MST3K right in front of it. It is a good bad. Because they point out every little flaw, every little thing. Like, I like even at the beginning, that beginning sequence where like, oh, we've run out of color and now we're doing brown. So, just the poo color. Great.
yeah. So if you're gonna pick a version of this to watch, go with a commentary track. I think Riff Tracks did an episode 2 on this.
Right. I would say either do Riff Tracks, MST3K, or even better, go and find the stage play that they did where Billy, where the kid that played Billy reprises his role. It was far more entertaining than watching this, and they do a modern spin on the dialogue.
Okay.
So they add things in there, like the whole weird Nixon joke that he made in the middle of naming all of his reindeers. I think he even said like Thunder or something in there. It was a weird name that he just threw in there. And then Nixon, he's like, oh, I have a little bit of trouble remembering all those names. Did we?
Where did you find that?
Which one?
The
Oh, it's on YouTube.
Play. Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. I looked up I looked up the movie itself, and if you just kind of scroll down and look through things, I was looking for some like background information. Like, I don't know if we mentioned yet that this is actually the first, by 3 weeks, this is the first iteration of Mrs. Claus in film.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess there was a version of her in like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer about 3 weeks after this, but she was the first version of Mrs. Claus to hit film.
Yeah.
And by far one of the worst versions of Mrs. Claus I've ever seen. Just like, they immediately bring her in, and Santa is basically calling her a nag the entire time, anytime that he interacts with her. And that weird kind of bumbly, giddy thing when she realizes she's on camera, she's like, and then runs off. It's like,
yeah.
Wow, what was that? And then
this is
Santa.
This is the women. All the women are not represented. All the females are not represented very well in this film at all. They are just there to be.
Even Billy's telling Betty to shut up all the time. Just.
I mean, that's very sibling-like, I guess.
Right, but it's like Betty has no, I don't know if mind of her own in this film, really. Yeah. Even Gurmar, not Girlmar. Even Gurmar really didn't have too much of a mind of her own in this. This is also Pia Zadora's debut performance in film.
For what that one to do better things.
She wouldn't. When she became big, I can't remember what film it was. They then touted her as this is her first role, and they were like, no, she was in the film as a child, and she was like, no, this is my first film.
As far as I'm concerned, her best film was also another Alien movie, Voyage of the Rock Aliens. Great film.
Oh, I have heard of it, and I haven't been able to find out.
if you want to, it's right up your alley. If you want a so bad it's good film, that is one of the best worst movies I've ever watched. Just her and Craig Schaefer in that film. Just it's definitely worth watching, if for nothing else than to just sort of laugh out loud and go, that is the most 80s thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. It's a little bit Grease, a little bit Revenge of the Nerds, a little bit Rocky Horror. It's a little all over the place is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently a little bit Santa Conquers the Martians at the same time.
I did manage to find the play. It's, if you just look up Maverick Theater Santa Conquers the Martians movie, it's all there, hour and a half.
It's well worth watching as a comparison to the boring that we just watched. I would probably pay to go see that as a stage play before I ever sat down and watched this for free again. If that makes sense. Like,
I will say, though, Voldar's mustache is a little lacking in this one.
Voldar's mustache is essentially a fuzzy piece of felt glued to his upper lip, and badly.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty bad, but it's prominent.
It's like it's taped right here, and whenever he moves, like one end or the other just kind of flops out.
Oh yeah.
Or when he talks, you can see like one end of it just kind of
floating,
flutters,
out there.
It's like, your mustache is not supposed to flap in the breeze while you're talking, sir. I don't know what you're doing.
Hey, he's a Martian. we don't know how it works there.
Well, I mean, as a Martian, you have
expecting him to do at some point. Since he was the only one that had a mustache, to indicate that he is the villain, they did stop short of him actually twiddling it.
He is the Dick Dastardly or Snidely Whiplash of this film, basically. And then I think what it was named, Shim. So when I saw Shim, I immediately realized what we had. The three main guys, you have Voldar, Shim, and then there was another guy who was sort of another bumbling idiot that at one point was supposed to guard the Droppo Santa, which Droppo outsmarting one of the bad guys is one of the funniest things in this film, because Droppo doesn't seem like he could outsmart anything.
No.
But when you got Voldar, you got Shim, and when I thought Shim, I'm like, why does that feel familiar? And I'm like, I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to do these Three Stooges version of the aliens, Shim being the Shemp character. It's like, yeah, that does make sense, because they're a bunch of bumbling idiots, especially in the cave scenes. So, I keep forgetting what Snidely Muttley. Muttley would be Snidely Whiplash's little sidekick dog companion. So I guess that would also make Shim sort of the Muttley of the entire crew. Are there any other thoughts you have about this film? Like bad performances, good performances, or I think most performances were equally bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a rough one.
Definitely not something that modern audiences would get. Like, it's not a film that you would like show your kids, because with it, I mean, I'm not a mum, so I'd imagine though that most of them would be in. As soon as they hear that song, they'd be like, "Yeah, I'm out of this."
Yeah, the song's it's got something there. I am noticing that in the costuming they have like. It's not exactly a bodysuit. They do have a pair of shorts over it too, which I didn't notice until now. But they're like really like, high up shorts where it's a look.
Well, I mean, it would go with the basketball shorts of the 60s if you really think about it.
Yeah.
Because all in all, personally, I think this film, if I had kids in the 60s, you could probably have made them sit down and watch this. I do not think, unless you really had some good friends or your kids loved absolutely terrible movies, I don't think you could make them sit and watch this. This is just a where we came from kind of terrible movie. Like we had terrible movies like this, and now we have terrible movies like well, I've watched a lot lately. I've been watching. I fell down a rabbit hole with a film that I watched recently. We just finished doing an episode with the Strange and Beautiful Book Club podcast. While I was trying to get some other things worked, and they're like, "Hey, well, we just pop on and do this real quick." I'm like, "Okay," and they made me watch this movie called The Last Sleigh Ride, which by itself is not a terrible independent film. It's funny. I think they were going for a comedy horror, but there's really not a lot of horror in it. It's sort of comedic homages to different horror movies. But I fell down a winter and or Christmas themed rabbit hole of horror movies after that. And I don't have the names off the top of my head because I believe my brain just sort of bleached them out of my memory, even though it was about a week ago. But there's some terrible movies on Tubi that are Christmas and independent film related. Terrible.
On Tubi especially, yeah. I can totally imagine that.
Well, considering that Tubi allows for films that are so bad that I ran across or I was pointed at, I did not run across this myself. YouTuber, not a YouTuber, a Instagram account reached out to me. It's like, we would really love you to watch our film. It's a found footage film, and it's kind of dramatic with a little horror mixed in. And I was like, okay, so I'll go watch this. And I should have realized what I was getting myself into. I was definitely deceived because I'm watching this thing and I'm like, this isn't found footage. This is more like you found somebody's VHS cassette of an argument that they had with their roommate and just threw it up there.
I mean, they found the footage. What more do you want from a found footage film?
I mean, isn't that for most of the VHS anthologies that they find videotapes and that's the story? So,
right.
This was literally just somebody who had a camcorder, like a VHS camcorder, and recorded an argument between friends or roommates about who the fuck ate my food from the refrigerator. And that's all it was. Is it from them recording the person coming in from the outside all the way to them not even finishing the argument. And I'm like, I just spent 45 minutes watching this expecting something to happen because they said it was horror. And I will admit, I was horrified that I watched it.
Well, it is pretty horrifying when, someone eats your food in the fridge. So I get that part of it.
I will preface this by saying if this particular account ever reaches out to you, if somebody asks you to watch their little Tubi video about a found footage horror film that is more dramatic than horror, and then you go to the screen, you go to Tubi and you see this little setup. I can't remember the name of the film, and it's another one of those things I watched several years ago. No idea what it's called at this point, but I will say that the cover picture is of a single piece of food sitting on a wire shelf inside of somebody's fridge. If you see that as the cover art, don't click the button to watch it. It is a 45-minute waste of your time. You want to see shit like that? Go to a yard sale and pick up a random VHS cassette from somebody's pile. You'll be more entertained because you will have found that footage yourself.
At least it was only 45 minutes long. I sat through a film on Tubi called Mrs. Claus, which I think was roughly about an hour and a half. And it starts with a college hazing where a girl is forced to use a huge dildo on herself as part of the hazing process. And this is like literally 5 minutes into the film and I'm going, oh, it's that type of film. And it just gets worse from there. So at least at 45 minutes, you were out within a lunch break. An hour and a half of this sort of nonsense was just...
That's
It
a little rough,
just
yeah.
struggled to make me wonder why I bother watching these films for these books, because it was like sanity is really being tested here.
I believe firmly in the trauma idea around low budget filmmaking. The problem is that some people, when they try to do low budget filmmaking, they go too hard in one direction. So you either get somebody that goes way too overtly sexual, or another direction where they ramp up the gore and forget the plot, or
Or
they
the growth factor.
right, or they just go to disgust you rather than engage you in anything. And so I think that's one of the reasons I like a lot of trauma films, because it has sort of an even mix of like it basically gore, sleaze, it's all sorts of stuff kind of mixed together. It's an even keel of what the fuck did I just watch? So you
But
watch
there's like some substance somewhere in there, right? Whether it's like through the story or like the artistry of it, or the effort that was put in. Like there's something there.
I mean, Lloyd Kaufman is the king of low budget cinema for a reason, really. I mean, for everything from like the Toxic Avenger, Sergeant Kabuki Man, you get a lot of just weird, but it's well thought out weird. They know
Yeah.
that they're not going to get you with high production value, because their advertisement is basically, how would you like experience, and would you mind working on a movie for free? Because they're not paying the people that are making the movie. They're not paying the actors. They're basically saying, this is experience. Come sit down and make one of these trash productions. They're all about practical effects, so they want everything to be at the lowest possible price point. And there were some movies that they kind of put a little bit more effort into way back when. The original Toxic Avenger, the original like Class of Nukem High, stuff like that. Even Sergeant Kabuki Man had some pretty decent value. But then they moved on and they were like, how can we make more movies for less money and still get sort of the same effect out of it? And we roll into stuff like Killer Nerd and Bride of Killer Nerd and stuff like that, which is essentially a movie made with a VHS camcorder. It's funny, it's interesting. They got a bit of social commentary there, but for the most part, it's pure trash cinema.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of the people that now we have access to everything to just make a movie on the fly with, between AI, access to iPhones that film better than VHS camcorders ever could have wished to, editing equipment right on your phone. So you have people pumping out movies left and right. Tubi's full of them.
Yep.
And we'll be approaching a few in the very near future. We have a couple of films on our slate that we're eyeing. I'm going to mention them right here. So one of the films is a dramatic film that was brought to us named The Misfits. It's actually kind of Christmas themed, or there's a little bit of Christmas in it near the end, I should say. So I'm hoping to get that, maybe sit down with them and talk before we get through the holidays, but at the very least in the winter time. I think actually they're looking to sit down with us after the first of the year. So, and the other one is a film called ZombieCon, which I've seen both, and ZombieCon is definitely entertaining. So I think we'll have fun talking to the makers of both of those films.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just moved right on past Santa Conquers the Martians because I don't know what else to talk about with this film.
I'm surprised you didn't do this far, to be honest.
You know what I didn't mention? That 1960s, what I can only imagine is it is just a gutted stuffed animal that they called a polar bear in this thing.
Oh,
that might be my favorite part of the movie.
just some guy in a polar bear. It's not even a costume, really. It was
the idea of a polar bear.
It looks like a stuffed animal they won at a fair and then just ripped all the stuffing out of and said, "Get into this. This is our polar bear."
Yeah.
It feels like a partially sighted person described what they thought they saw in a polar bear, and then somebody made the costume based on that description.
Because, this film, you're not going to get a trained polar bear, are you? There's no such thing as CGI. They could have gone the way of claymation, but that probably would have taken too long because it took them 4 days to make this film.
Yeah.
Well, here was an idea: not have the polar bear at all.
I think somebody had actually pointed out there were a lot of what they call flash frames in this film. Where you can see like cuts in the film where there's like a one frame where it's a white kind of shot, where it's just pure white. And I think they said that's because they started the camera and the sound immediately after saying not cut, but basically action. Yeah. So they said action and immediately started the camera, rather than starting the camera prior to saying action, which probably meant that they had very little film to make this film on.
Yeah. Well, they were just trying to avoid the millennial pause, right? They want that awkward silence. So like, all right, we're going Gen Z on this. Start talking before you start recording.
Right. I'm sure there's plenty of pause in this movie anyway. They didn't do a good job at that. Not at all. Any other thoughts on this film?
If you're gonna watch it, watch MSTK or riff tracks or something version of it. It'll be a lot more palatable and easy to get through.
Okay, I will go the other route. If you're going to watch this film, make sure that you either have the alcohol or your edibles available readily.
Hey, you can combine both of those methods too.
You can go for
We don't do that in this country, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You can go for what they call being crossfaded and just sit there macrame to your couch going, why?
Right. Yeah. Sorry.
And if you have a friend that has macrame themselves to the couch to watch this film, take the controller from them. They're not going to be able to go after you. They're going to be
Save
stuck.
them.
No, I'm not saying save them. I watched this movie 4 times.
Them.
I'm saying trap them, yes. Take that controller so they can't change the channel.
Yeah.
You will watch all of this.
Well, here's what I'll say. If they ever do come out with the Jim Carrey version of Dropo, and this remake, I'll watch it just to see what the hell did they do to try to make this entertaining and different.
I'm saying, Jim Carrey, Dropo. We have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Santa Claus, and we have Arnold Schwarzenegger as the lead villain, Voldar.
Yeah.
I'm saying this only because you want Santa to conquer the Martians, and who better to conquer the Martians than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
Yeah.
Because he seems to conquer every single fucking thing in every movie that he's in, regardless of whether or not it's plausible.
Yeah.
Dwayne has conquered an earthquake. There's no reason he should have been able to. He just did. It's like, okay.
He just did. I don't know if it's in the same universe as that film, but I would love to see like a Willem Dafoe as Kemar. I feel like that would fit pretty well.
Well, okay, Willem Dafoe. We got a good cast coming. Now, who's going to be Momar? What was her name? Catherine O'Hara as Momar.
Catherine O'Hara.
Oh, yeah.
Catherine O'Hara as Momar. And I don't care about the kids because nobody cared about the kids in this film.
Yeah.
I say use the...
What's playing the kids?
I would say use the same method that Charles Schultz used for the original Peanuts Christmas movie. Just get kids. They don't have to be able to act. Just get kids.
Yes.
Because I would love just kids that didn't know what the hell they were doing in stark contrast to all these big names.
I think
'Cause
the
you had-
same
And,
people that
most of the
do
time they're sitting
this
in front of a
also did
TV
another
anyway.
Santa film. They did, it's just called Santa Claus, and they learned their lesson, but it's actually Santa Claus versus the devil.
What?
Yeah.
Does
Yep.
that mean that they actually knew what they were doing, though?
Well, I mean, I haven't seen it, but from what I've read, it's got an even lower IMDb score than this. But
I think that was the production company. The production company involved in this was looking to make like a series of, and this is, mind you, I think if I'm not mistaken, what you were talking about, it was supposed to be kind of a kids movie as well. JLR,
yeah.
was it? JLR? No, it wasn't the JLR production company. Because all they have is the Santa Claus Conquers the Martians thing. Was it the same director?
Wait, one.
Yeah, I'm looking for it because I'm looking at Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny.
No.
No, I'm looking here. Like that's not the same thing. Yeah, Santa Claus versus the Devil. There it is.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not seeing who, and it's definitely not the same director.
Oh, no, sorry. This is a Mexican production, so
yes. Oh God, I feel like I'm going to be watching Santa Claus versus the Devil after. I'm just looking at the still shots of Santa Claus versus the Devil here, and there's a wizard in it.
Apparently, according to on here, it says, Pitch, the mean-spirited devil, is trying to ruin Christmas. Santa Claus teams up with Merlin the magician and the children of the world in order to save the day.
All I see here is the fabulous realm of the Candy Stick Palaces. I have got some Christmas movies to watch. Like, I feel like I'm gonna have to sit down and I've seen the Santa Claus versus the Devil thing, and then because that just says Santa Claus.
Yes.
And then you go and it says Santa Claus versus the Devil. So the name of the movie is actually Santa Claus, but the movie itself is him versus the devil. And then there's I got to find this one, Santa Claus and the Ice Cream Bunny, which gets a 1.4 from 1972. Where can I find this? Because
well, have fun with those. I'm going to stick with the classics like, A Christmas Story and Christmas Vacation. Good luck with Santa Claus and the Ice Cream Bunny.
Well, it says,
I am a little curious.
See, I'm curious too, because the tagline here says, when Santa's sleigh gets stuck in Florida, he tells a group of kids the story of Thumbelina, which somehow also involves an ice cream bunny. No idea. But with that, would you like to plug your book or any future projects you might have, Bev, before we slip off into the ether?
Yep. So here it is. Here's my book. I'm actually prepared for once. And it's the A to Z of the So Bad They Good, the Bad and the Ugly horror films. It's available on Amazon for whatever region you're in. And I'm doing a follow-up book, and I'm doing a wonderfully weird A to Z as well. So it covers everything. Still predominantly horror, but there's some random shit in there as well.
There's plenty of wonderfully weird out there. I'd love to read that book when it comes out, because I want to see if your weird matches up with some of my weird.
Yeah.
And that being said, our podcast, you can find us on, if you're watching, you already found us, but we are on YouTube, Spotify, and pretty much everywhere else you can find audio and video podcasts. Outside of that, on behalf of myself, Bev here, and Christian, thank you for listening. Like, share, and subscribe, and drink some water, you thirsty bitches. Got to come up with something other than that. I keep saying it. But I got to come up with something other than that.